Hey everyone, how you doing today? Topic number 3 with Anna Kelly this morning is something I've wanted to talk about, and that is, what do people have wrong about millionaires? I think there's a talk track in the media today that millionaires are greedy, uh, just fell into it. Lots of kind of we have to attack them. That's kind of the talk track, at least that I see, or maybe I feel. So, what do people have wrong about millionaires?
One is that $1 million is so much money that it allows like a totally luxurious lifestyle to never ever have to worry about money again. When I hit a net worth of $1 million, I still lived check to check.
Yeah,
There were still months I had to rob Peter to pay Paul,
yeah,
because a millionaire in assets doesn't mean that you've got $1 million of cash always available to you to buy whatever you want at any point in time. So that's one misconception, is that every person that is a millionaire on paper is like luxuriously wealthy and never have to worry about money.
yeah. No, you're so right. I mean, $1 million is really a net worth calculation. It really has nothing to do with income. It means you've owned assets and they've, either inflated or raised in value. So yeah, I think you're so right. Yeah. When I was a millionaire the first time, yeah, we were check to check. We were scrimping and saving. We didn't have a lot of cash. I mean, you're absolutely right. It's, absolutely. So the other thing I think about when I think about millionaires under attack is I firmly believe this with every fiber of my body is if you want to be one, you can. The path is not hard. It may take you decades, but again, if you want to be if you make 40 grand a year, if you wanted to become a millionaire, there's proven paths. I mean, you could just invest in an index fund and over time you'll get there, right? So the fact that being a millionaire is hard, I want to dispel that. It's really not that hard. And oh, by the way, $1 million today is not $1 million in 1970, right? It's a very different number.
That's a really good point, Michael, because I remember being in high school, and I've said this to my son, and taking one class where we talked about, I think it was a finance class, but they had somebody come in that said, if you just take a little bit of your money every month and you set it aside and you put it in an IRA, compounding effect will make you have $1 million when you're, 40 or whatever it was. And back then, I was in high school in the late 80s, early 90s, like that seemed like a lot of money. But yeah, today that probably have to be, $5 or $10 million. I don't know the time value of money difference, but that's a really good point. $1 million does not go as far today as it did back then.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time when if you ever got to that magic number, you really could enjoy the rest of your life. A couple of things have happened. One is $1 million isn't $1 million anymore, but second, life expectancy has extended as well, right? So this mythical round number of $1 million, I believe everybody can achieve it, and B, when you do achieve it, you're going to realize, damn it, I still have to work.
Yes, because they tell you, oh, if you retire at 65 and have $1 million and you make 10% on it every year, you'll make $1 million, you'll make 100,000 a year, you can live on just the interest.
Yeah.
But they don't tell you that there's fees to get in, there's fees to get out. Like if it's in the stock market or mutual funds, there's the time value of money that depreciates, the real buying power of that money. And there's taxes that you pay when you take it out. And so they may say you live on $100,000, but maybe you're living on $50,000 or $60,000 a year.
Yeah,
and $50,000 or $60,000 a year living on the interest, if you can consistently make 10% safely without the volatility of the stock market, which is a big if, you're going to live like an average American person, even with $1 million net worth for the rest of your life.
Yeah. The other thing I want to put out there, if someone becomes a millionaire, is I want people to realize that they made conscious decisions to do without for probably at least a decade, probably more than that. But the fact that we look at these folks and we demonize them, you got to remember, they weren't out shopping. They weren't out doing this or that. They were saving little bits of money by conscious choice, investing it, and then they allowed compounding to take over, right? They've owned assets. They took that risk. I don't like people pointing at the top and going, you got lucky, or, you had a silver spoon in your mouth. You and I came from nothing. Section 8 housing, right? Food scarcity. And that frankly pisses me off when people say that, right? I'm like, I
Yeah.
went to the mall yesterday, and on my Instagram page, we're just walking around, right? Because it was hot outside. And I took a picture of, I think it was the Louis Vuitton store, maybe it was Prada or something. There's a line out the freaking store of people buying, bags or shoes or whatever they were buying. I'm like, people spending their stimulus check. This is what free money gets you. I'm like, God, scary.
Absolutely. I agree 100%, and like you said, for me, it looks, when people just hear you're a millionaire, they assume you must have been handed money. You must have grown up with money and you had it so easy and you're very privileged, right? Um, Growing up in Section 8 housing, I'm working 2 jobs. I can tell you, I did not have any money given to me, nothing, no information, no nothing, right? It was a lot of trial and error, and it was working hard just to survive like everybody else, right? I wasn't thinking about, I'm doing real estate so I can become a millionaire. I was thinking, I'm doing real estate so I can have a little extra cash in my pocket so I can feed my children and never have
Yeah.
to worry about, going back and having them be in Section 8 housing. So I was trying to take some wise financial decisions. And really, when you talk about lifestyle, a big piece of being able to get where I've been able to get is I chose to sacrifice during those years and live below our means, right? Everything we had extra, we didn't have cable for 10 years. I didn't
Mm.
want a cable bill. So it wasn't that I didn't think there was much value in the stuff on cable. I would have loved to watch HGTV every day a little bit, right? Or have a
Yeah.
little bit of network news, have some sports. We sacrificed because I couldn't afford to have a $50 cable bill.
Yeah.
I didn't have a smartphone when they started coming out because I didn't want $100 phone bill. I had a flip phone, and it took me forever to migrate. And it's not because I was tech averse. It's because I was trying to save every penny so that I could have enough for the down payment on that next property that would
Exactly.
buy me a little more income to give me that financial freedom. So decades of sacrificing, working 70 and 80 hours a week, staying up till 2 o'clock in the morning, renting apartments. Like, it was hard living and hard work, just as hard as when my mom worked 2 jobs, right?
Hmm.
We worked 2 jobs too to get there. It was just a different time and a different reason. But I don't know anybody personally that's a millionaire that did not have a very similar story where they came from humble beginnings. They worked very, very, very hard, and the rewards finally start paying off because of the discipline and the decisions they made every day for 10, 20, 25 years.
Yeah, it's the discipline. It's that hunger, that desire, that not give up that was forged through, I don't a difficult childhood, challenging childhood, right? We wanted better for our kids. That's something that's very clear.
Right.
And again, back to sacrifice.
Right.
I mean, one of the most vivid memories I still have is we were buying our second apartment building, and we were doing our walkthrough inspections. And it was an 18 unit building. So nothing like what you buy, but big for us. And I remember walking through 16 of the 18 units, and all of them had big screen TVs. So this is probably, when was this? This is probably 2008 or 9, maybe 7, somewhere in there. And they were like the 50 or 60-inch TVs. And some of them, these 2 bedrooms, some of them had multiple TVs. And then Olivia and I are driving home. She goes, "Did you see that?" I'm like, "What did you see?" "Did you see all those TVs?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's kind of weird, right?" She goes, "Do you realize we only have one TV in our house and it's 18 inches? It's like a box like this big that we almost never turn on." I'm
Yeah.
like, "Well, I'm cheap. I don't want to spend $3,000 on a big screen TV or whatever they cost back then, because I'd rather own the building than have a TV." So sacrifice is a big part of it. People just don't realize how
Yeah.
long and consistent you have to be.
Yeah. And I think too, we are sold consumerism. People
Yeah.
grow up in an environment of, if you just buy this, it will buy happiness. It will make you happy. And so
Mm.
I recognize, growing up in Section 8 housing, that there is a cycle of poverty. It's a poverty mentality that you grow up with, where life is hard, and any opportunity you have for momentary joy, you will spend money to buy that momentary joy.
Oh,
And
wow.
when my mom had extra money after working 2 jobs, what would we do? I got an extra $200. Let's go celebrate and eat at Olive Garden, and let's go buy something at the dollar store. And she'd spend every penny on us to buy us those momentary moments of joy and creating memories. So I have compassion for that, right? Because I grew
Mm.
up in that. I've worked with inner city kids. they have that same thing because they don't know any different. There's no one showing them, if you would sacrifice momentary pleasures or do it less frequently or live below your means for a while so that you can have something bigger, it might change, that thought process. But many of our tenants that have, got these stimulus checks, yes, they've gone out and bought big screen TVs. I see the boxes all at our dumpster.
Yeah, me too.
I see that I can't I couldn't get one. I ordered 3 on Walmart for our vacation rental. All 3 were canceled because they were sold at the store within minutes, like back ordered televisions, because people are trying to buy that happiness in a dark world and they can't see past today into the future. And so one of the myths, just circling back about millionaires, is that we're careless, heartless people, that we don't care about people that don't have money and we think money is all that. I know that money isn't what buys me joy. I could be content with less, and I was with less for a very long time, but I always viewed money as something that I had to learn to master so that I didn't have it master me and keep me in that cycle of poverty. And so it's important. And I a lot of people that have a lot of money that want to give back, and we are investing in the lives of others and trying to teach literacy so they can come out of that and move closer to financial freedom, whether they want to become a millionaire or not. But they've got to learn how to master money and get out of that. I've got to consume in order to be happy and buy everything I have an opportunity to buy today, thinking it's going to bring me joy, when it's so temporary and it just keeps them where they are.
Yeah. The last thing I want to talk about with folks that I know that are worth millions or even more is money or net worth just accentuates the person you were when you didn't have it, right? If you're a good person, you're still a good person. If you're a prick, you're just a bigger one. So that's the other thing is money doesn't create someone. It just accentuates who you were before you had any, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree completely. I hear people say money's the root of all evil, but it's not. The proverb is the love of money is the root of all evil. So when we put the love of money above love for people and love for life and the way we treat people, it can become something, but it's because your heart is already thinking, I don't care about anyone or anything, just about myself and how rich I get. Right. But money's just a tool. Absolutely. It's just a tool that we use to create the lifestyle that we want. And I think the same desires that I have to help people today are the same desires I had to help people when I was little and didn't have any money to do it. Right? It hasn't changed me as a person. It's just changed it's changed what I'm able to do with my time. And that's the biggest thing. A lot of people do philanthropic work. They do give back with their time. And some of those people grew up with money and some of those people didn't. So I also know people that don't have very much money, total pricks. And I know very wealthy people that are total pricks. Absolutely. So to your point,
both ways,
we are who we are. And we hope that as we have more, it just gives us the ability to do more of the things that are already in our heart to do for other people.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, the real concept that I want to get across with this concept is everybody can become a millionaire. It's a kind of a proven path we've talked about for over a year now, but you've got to it's kind of, I guess I'll say it this way. It's the reward for years and decades of sacrifice. Everybody can get there. Do you want to sacrifice years and decades? That's up to you. So any closing thoughts on this one?
Right. Yeah, I think just to that point, most people think it's out of reach, or if I get lucky, then I can do it. It used to be when I was a kid, if I can become a famous singer, then I can be a millionaire and then I won't have to worry about, time or whatever it is. Or, for my kiddo, if I could become like Danny Ainge, because he's a short white guy, right? Then I could be this great basketball player and be a millionaire, and it's like, we don't have to just dream it and if it by chance. If you take control of your choices of your time and your money and how you choose to grow your business and grow your wealth, it's very doable. In this country, it is still very possible to become financially free and financially independent. And I know a lot of people who have come here from other countries just in the last few years, but they started with nothing, but they had a drive and a determination to make their lives better and to get there. And it's baby steps every single day that says, this is what I want. and I want it badly enough, I'm willing to take those steps every day to get there. So make it possible for yourself. Don't just dream it and hope that you become the next YouTube star. Take the steps daily to create the life that you want. And the money comes. When you do what you love and you do it every day, the money comes.
There you go. I will leave it at that. Thank you very much for your time this week, Anna. These have been 3 great episodes.
Thank you so much.